Well, what is America First and who gets to define what that even means? According to Donald Trump, it's him. America First is, after all, a slogan closely identified with the president, probably second only to Make America Great Again.
Is Trump truly America first, especially with the undertaking of Israel preemptively or aggressively bombing Iran, who did not bomb them, and Trump seemingly backing it and seemingly going along with the threats towards Iran of U.S. involvement? Is Donald Trump truly American first? And I voted for Trump because he ran on the platform of America first. Allow Robbie to continue.
And to his credit, Trump has drawn considerable support for following through on promises to center American foreign policy on the needs of, well, America. When he first emerged on the political scene, Trump broke with years of bipartisan foreign policy consensus, particularly on the right. He was one of the only prominent political figures identified with the Republican Party who was willing to confidently and correctly assert that the war in Iraq was a grave mistake. And it's a theme he's largely stuck with. During his recent trip to the Middle East, Trump slammed neoconservatives and nation builders who wrongly think that American military might is the key to world peace. Why am I bringing this up now? Well, the neoconservative nation-building ethos is again trying to exercise control over U.S. foreign policy and over Trump himself. Indeed, the neocons are trying to redefine America first and trick Trump into thinking that their foreign policy, not his foreign policy, is what Americans want. I hope Trump doesn't listen. This is all happening amidst the backdrop of a war between Israel and Iran. Over the weekend, Israel bombed Iranian nuclear facilities and assassinated top Iranian generals. In response, Iran is retaliating. Now, the fight between Israel and Iran is a fight between an allied democracy and an Islamic theocracy. It's
Again, he will say coming up that Israel is the friend, Iran is the foe. I wonder how much Israel is really a friend of America when it wants to continuously put America into wars, making Americans target for those aggressive moves that Israel is taking in the Middle East. Are they truly your friend, or are they in control of our politicians and determine which wars we should fight as American based off Israel's own personal beliefs and wants? This is the question that we have to ask ourselves. So is Donald Trump truly America first? He seems to have been compromised.
obvious who we are rooting for, Israel. But that doesn't mean the U.S. needs to join this fight. On the contrary,
I'm not rooting for Israel or Iran, so no, it's not obviously who we're rooting for, Robbie. But all the other commentary is good commentary. Continue.
we should stay out of it entirely. Let me be extremely clear. Israel is free to pursue its own military objectives in defense of its people. But Israel does not and should not rely on U.S. military support and cover for its wars of choice against foes in the Middle East. They chose this, and that's fine. They have the right to choose it. We do not have the obligation to get dragged into the conflict. The U.S. has other, more pressing problems than sorting out the Middle East.
That is a pertinent statement that he has made. It's important to understand that we have so many problems within the borders of America that we need to focus on correcting. We have a huge divide between the lunatics on the left and the crazy extreme ones on the right. We have a complete divide between individuals who have common sense, who knows that a man, a biologically born man, male, will forever be a man, and a biologically born woman will forever be a woman. And there is no such thing as transitioning from your biological sex at birth. You are forever that individual. It's all right if you're homosexual, that's your choice. But you're a homosexual man and you're a homosexual woman. You are not a trans man and you are not a trans woman. You cannot become what you were not born when it comes to your sex. Understand that clearly. So we have so much going on within this nation with the illegal immigrant situation and all those individuals rising up and fighting and being disrespectful towards America, but want to stay in America, but flying the flags of the foreign countries that they don't want to go back to. Make that make sense. Now allow us to listen to Ted Cruz, an individual who is again pushing the narrative that regime change is necessary. We went through this in Iraq and it destroyed Iraq, killed millions of Iraqis, and Americans lost their lives as well. And that place is still destroyed. So the regime change did nothing. We look at Libya. They went in and they killed Muammar Gaddafi. And look at Libya. Libya is a failed state when Libya was a thriving state. Whether you agree with how they run their country or not, he was not a threat to America. You went in, you destroyed him, and now look at Libya. Now you want to destroy Iran. You want to go in and destroy Iran, talking about regime change as if that's going to make Iran a more stable place. No, it's going to cause more death, more destruction, and more hatred towards America. Netanyahu is an evil human being. So he is not who I am rooting for in no way, shape, or form. He is evil, and his evil is being afflicted on those around him, and by our complicit nature of helping them and funding them, and they been on our welfare system for over 75 years to the tune of $4 billion a year at this point, makes it even more egregious. A nation who receives welfare from America for 75 years, obviously that nation owns many of the American politicians, absolutely most of the American politicians. When they fight against even funding the welfare state of our own citizens, they gladly fund the welfare state of Israel. Make it make sense. Now let's bring on Ted Cruz, another war hawk who sounds ridiculous. I want you to listen to this individual. And I've blasted the left. I've totally destroyed the left on most all my videos. But these individuals who they did not, in no point was I fooled by them, but their true colors are coming to light when it says that they want to be of a certain way, but then talk about regime change, knowing that that has never worked. And Iran has done nothing to threaten America. All right. So let's listen to this warmonger right here.
See regime change. Do you think that happens soon? And what would the future look like in that regard?
Look, I think it is very much in the interest of America to see regime change. I don't think there's any redeeming the Ayatollah. He is filled with hatred.
Listen to this. Listen to this clown right here. Listen to this clown talk about regime change. Listen to him. Listen to him promote the idea of regime change. Listen to him talk about somebody being irredeemable. These individuals are indeed in the pockets of Israel. They do not have what is best for America at their heart. They have what is best for themselves and the kickbacks they get by funding these wars. These individuals are very dangerous, nasty, well-spoken individuals who can convince you that they are sincere. They are sincerely lying, and they are sincere in the fact that they want to continue to be wealthy, and they want to sell out the American people for Israel or any of the war machines that make tons, billions, and trillions of dollars off these wars, and they get the kickback. These politicians are definitely not a part of what we need to truly move forward as an American first nation. They are as despicable as the lunatics on the left. And these individuals may be even more vile than those individuals on the left because of how they go about. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson, who has been a strong supporter of Trump, but now he's calling it out like he sees it.
A deeply humane, kind person. And I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire. Obviously, other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it. And so that's why I'm saying this.
And he makes a great point. The millions of Americans who are not registered Republicans, who are not MAGA enthusiasts, they voted for Trump because of the American First policies, the American First platform. They voted for him for securing the border, and he's done that. He gets A+. They have voted for them, and I did too, for the deportation of illegals. He's attempting to do that with a lot of resistance from those lunatics on the left, etc., which makes no sense. And we voted for him to keep men out of women's sports, and he's really pushing that agenda as well. He gets A+ on attempting to do that. And we voted for him to not get us into foreign wars on foreign souls and pursue the regime change that these war hawks have pursued before him, that has only cost the American taxpayers billions of dollars, that has enriched these war funding machines, these companies that make the war, make the equipment, the assault equipment, make the weapons of destruction, who have become and who are wealthy and continue to get wealthy off wars, and these politicians who get the kickbacks. We thought he was an adjustment to that. He was the anti-warmonger, the anti-neocon. But he seems to be compromised and controlled by the evil one, Netanyahu, and the Israeli ones who I believe own this government, own these politicians. And it's playing out in real time with a politician, Donald Trump, who actually appears to want to be American first, but appears that he cannot go against his masters as well. And this is a shame. We'll do one more clip. Who we see coming up? That's Tucker again. And actually, I want to try to go beyond this, and let's try to get Margaret. Well, we'll listen to Dave Smith. He's a little hyperbolic, but we'll bring him on board in a second and see what he has to say. Actually, we'll allow this to skip. But again, what we have to understand is this: we cannot continue to support these individuals that promote war, that pursue war, that work against the American people and our benefit. Like I said earlier, this American government has an issue, especially the left, has an issue with welfare recipients that are American, but yet for over 75 years, they have funded Israel now to the tune of $4 billion a year. Where are the cuts at? Where are the budget cuts that need to be done as it regards Israel? You're cutting other things that may benefit Americans, but you will not touch the funding for Israel. Make that make sense. It makes no sense. So I'm seeing some hypocrisy come forth out of this Trump administration, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. But at the end of the day, I would have still voted for him over Kamala any day, or any Democrat any day of the week. Any individuals that says that they don't know the difference between a biologically born male and a biologically born female, I would never vote for them ever, under no circumstances, because they are delusional for sure. So allow us to listen to Dave, and then we're going to get on up out of here.
Last year, I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one, wow. And not on some like not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of corrupt hacks.
This is the one thing they support. This is like
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this.
Now, I'm not going as far as to say that Donald should be impeached. He sounds a little like a leftist right here, but we're going to look at what Marjorie Greene Taylor has to say, and she's a MAGA first individual. And let's read what she has to say. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene says this: everyone is finding out who are real American first, MAGA, and who were fake and just said it because it was popular. Unfortunately, the list of fakers are becoming quite long and expose themselves quickly. Anyone slobbering for the U.S. to become fully involved in Israel-Iran war is not American first or MAGA. Wishing for murder of innocent people is disgusting. I respect the fact that she's saying this, and we are sick and tired of foreign wars. All of them. I agree with her 1,000%. And one of the worst individuals in Congress, and if I didn't speak about this earlier, is Lindsey Graham. This individual out of South Carolina, he has never been married, he has no children, and he's always promoting wars. How can you even elect an individual who has never been married, who has no children, to govern human life? Those of you who voted for this clown are ridiculous, and you have no understanding what it is to be human. And I have went in on the left who promotes the same thing with a lot of these black women who they're putting forth in these powerful positions. They are not married, they refuse to have children, and so how can they govern? They refuse to participate in the most important activity that any human being can participate in, and that is the reproduction of life. How can you govern life and govern millions of individuals if you refuse to participate? And how can you manage a nation or manage affairs if you can't even or never even attempted to marry someone in order to be able to manage their household? Marriage and raising children are some of the most complicated, difficult, tasking, and trying things that we will ever get involved in. And those of us who are able to be successful at raising our children, at developing and cultivating a marriage, you are the ones that will be ideal for the Congress and to govern people. But even those who have children and who are married can be unpopular and insufficient when it comes to governing other human beings. So I say that to say this: y'all have a beautiful day. Sending you peace and always love. Peace.